I absolutely love the Lord. I love my wife more than anything. She is very, very, very pretty. I'm just a normal person who absolutely loves to sing more than anything in the world. Those words, that voice, that smile. 13 years ago, a man stood in front of the American Idol cameras and told the whole world exactly who he was. A pastor, a husband, a man of God who loved his wife more than anything on this earth. America believed him. His church believed him. His community believed him. His 2 little daughters believed him. And most importantly, Ashley Flynn believed him. She believed him every single day of their marriage. She believed him when he led worship on Sunday mornings. She believed him when he tucked the girls in at night. Or she believed him when she closed her eyes and fell asleep next to him on the night of February 15th, 2026. In their home, in their bed, in Tipp City, Ohio, Ashley Flynn fell asleep believing she was safe. She never woke up, and the man who told America he loved her more than anything picked up a phone and called 911. This is Ashley Flynn's story, and it will stay with you long after this video ends. Before we continue, subscribe if you believe wives deserve to be safe in their own beds. Because what happened in that house on Cunningham Court was not a burglary. It was not random. And the person who did it sang about love every single Sunday. To understand what was taken on February 16th, 2026, you have to understand who Ashley Flynn was. Not the headline, not the victim, the woman. Tipp City, Ohio. A small, quiet town about 15 miles north of Dayton. Population around 10,000. The kind of place where people know their neighbors. Where kids walk to school. Where church on Sunday is not just a ritual. It is the center of community life. Ashley Flynn was exactly the kind of person a town like Tipp City was built around. 37 years old, brown hair, warm smile, the kind of smile her school district described as beautiful. Not just pretty, beautiful. Because it wasn't just her face, it was what came with it. Warmth, kindness, the kind of energy that made people around her feel seen. Ashley was a substitute teacher. She walked into classrooms where the regular teacher was gone and kids were ready to take advantage. And somehow she made it work. Kids responded to her. Students remembered her. When she died, Tipp City schools posted about her on Facebook. They called her dedicated. They talked about her positive impact on so many. That is not language schools use for everyone. That is language reserved for the ones who truly showed up. But teaching was not her only role in that school. Ashley also coached 7th grade volleyball at Tippecanoe Middle School. She stood on the sideline at every practice. She taught those girls how to serve and set and communicate and push through. She taught them more than volleyball. She taught them what it looked like for a woman to show up fully for something she cared about. Her players loved her. She was also a volunteer teacher at LifeWise Academy, a faith-based program that taught scripture and values to children during school hours. She gave her time even beyond the job because she genuinely believed in what she was doing. At church, Ashley Flynn was not just a member, she was a servant. Christian Life Center in Dayton, Ohio. Her senior pastor, Jordan Hansen, described her in a Facebook post that stopped people mid-scroll. A devoted servant of Jesus, a wife, a mom, someone who fulfilled all of those roles with grace, devotion, and unconditional love. A close family friend described Ashley as a fierce proclaimer of the gospel, a shining light of joy, someone who encouraged others effortlessly, whose kindness touched countless lives, often in ways she never even realized. And at home, 2 daughters, elementary school age, the center of everything Ashley did, every lesson she taught, every practice she ran, every Sunday she showed up for. All of it was pointed at one thing: building a life those girls could grow up proud of, a home full of faith and warmth and safety. That was Ashley Flynn. Not a headline, a woman. Now you need to understand the man she built that life with, Caleb Flynn, 39 years old. And if you search his name on YouTube, the first thing you will find is a video that will make your stomach turn once you know how this story ends. Season 12 of American Idol. Fox Television. Millions of viewers. A young Caleb Flynn sits in front of the camera for his Road to Hollywood interview. He is relaxed, charming, confident. He describes himself as a music pastor, born to sing. He talks about his faith, and then he talks about his wife. His face changes when he talks about Ashley. It softens. He leans forward slightly, and he says, "I absolutely love the Lord. I love my wife more than anything. She is very, very, very pretty. I just love her." Then he laughs, a warm, easy laugh, the kind that makes people trust you immediately. He even compared Ashley to his favorite American Idol contestant, Carrie Underwood. "I promise you," he said, "if my wife dyed her hair blonde, she would look just like her." The audience loved it. America loved it. Here was a man of genuine faith, genuine love, and genuine talent. He earned a golden ticket to Hollywood that season, made it through to Hollywood Week before being eliminated. But the impression he left was not about the singing. It was about the man, the pastor husband who loved his wife more than anything. And that impression followed him home to Ohio. Caleb Flynn served as a worship arts pastor and worship director at 2 different churches between 2010 and 2021. His LinkedIn profile paints the picture of a man dedicated to ministry. A man who spent over a decade leading congregations in song, standing at the front of a church and pointing people towards something higher. A former colleague described him online as a very talented and passionate worship leader. Said a bright future awaits this young man. By the time the Flynn family settled in Tipp City, Caleb was leading worship at Christian Life Center in Dayton. He also worked as vice president of sales at a local company, Richard D. Smith and Sons. He was not just a church figure. He was embedded in the community, known, trusted, respected, the kind of man people felt safe around. The kind of man nobody expected anything from except Sunday morning worship and a warm handshake at the door. That is who Caleb Flynn appeared to be. And appearances, as this story will show you, can be constructed just as carefully as a crime scene. February 15th, 2026, a Sunday, Ashley Flynn's last full day alive. We do not know exactly what that day looked like, but we know what Sundays looked like for the Flynn family. Church in the morning, Caleb at the front leading worship, Ashley in the congregation with their daughters, a community of people who loved them surrounding them on all sides. Prayer ribbons would later line the poles of Main Street in Tipp City. Vigil candles would be lit, because this was a family that people felt connected to. We know the 2 daughters were home that night. We know they went to sleep in their bedrooms down the hall. We know Ashley went to bed. And we know that at some point after midnight, in the early hours of February 16th, something happened in that master bedroom on Cunningham Court that nobody was supposed to survive and talk about, nobody except Caleb Flynn. 2:31 in the morning, February 16th, 2026. A call comes into Tipp City Emergency Dispatch. The man on the line is frantic, breathing hard. His words are tumbling over each other. And what he says in those first seconds sets the entire investigation in motion. "Oh my God, somebody broke into my home. Somebody broke into my home and shot my wife." His voice cracks. He tells the dispatcher his wife has 2 shots to her head. There is blood everywhere. "Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God." He says the garage door is wide open. He doesn't know if the intruder is still inside. He tells the dispatcher he was with the children when it happened, that he was in their bedroom with his daughters. He says he rubbed her leg, said her name. She's not answering. Her face is white as a ghost. Ashley, baby, baby, please, oh my God. She's not. The call lasts nearly 8 minutes. 8 minutes of what sounds like a husband discovering his wife has been murdered by an intruder while he was down the hall with their sleeping daughters. 8 minutes of fear and grief and disbelief performed for a recorded line that would later be released to the public and played on news broadcasts across the country. Police arrived at the house on Cunningham Court within minutes. What they found matched part of the call. Ashley Flynn was in the master bedroom. Unresponsive, 2 gunshot wounds to her head, pronounced dead at the scene. The 2 daughters were in their rooms, asleep, unhurt. Caleb Flynn was in the house, cooperative, visibly distressed, and there were signs of forced entry. The side door to the garage was open. The center console of a 2024 Ford pickup truck parked inside the garage was also open. Caleb told officers that was where he kept his handgun, a 9mm. It appeared the intruder had broken in through the garage, gone to the truck, taken the gun, and used it on Ashley. The story was terrible, but it was coherent. Police launched a homicide investigation. Drone units were deployed. K-9 units swept the area. The community of Tipp City was told a killer might still be out there. Residents locked their doors. Parents kept their kids close. Prayer ribbons went up on Main Street. The whole town was grieving for the Flynn family, but investigators were already looking closer. If you are still watching, comment, "Her name was Ashley." 3 days. That is all it took. 3 days from the 911 call to an arrest. And when you hear what detectives found, you will understand why. The forced entry, that side garage door, the one Caleb said was wide open when he discovered what happened. Investigators looked at that door, and they looked at what was directly behind it, a large refrigerator, pushed against it. On the inside, for that door to have been opened from the outside by an intruder, that refrigerator would have had to move by itself. Or someone on the inside would have had to move it afterward to make it look like the door had been used. Staging. That word would appear in court documents later. Investigators believed the crime scene had been deliberately arranged to mislead them. Then there were the shell casings. 2 of them, 9mm, found in the master bedroom, not near a window, not near a door, not anywhere an intruder would have been standing. At the foot of the bed, where Ashley was sleeping. The casings were consistent with the caliber of the gun Caleb said he kept in that truck. The gun that was now missing. The gun that had allegedly been stolen by the same intruder who somehow got through a door blocked by a refrigerator. The FBI was called in. Tipp City police acknowledged they do not frequently handle major homicide cases and wanted federal expertise. What came back from that investigation was enough. Probable cause to charge Caleb Flynn with the murder of his wife. 2 counts of felonious assault. 2 counts of tampering with evidence. On the night of February 19th, 2026, 3 days after Ashley was found dead in her bedroom, Caleb Flynn was arrested. That same day, the church had been planning to announce a celebration of life service for Ashley. Instead, the community woke up to 2 pieces of news at once. Ashley's memorial and her husband in handcuffs, February 20th, 2026. Caleb Flynn appears by video from Miami County Jail for his arraignment. He is not in a church. He is not at a podium. He is looking into a camera from a jail cell and telling a judge, "I just want to take care of my daughters. I am not a risk." He pleaded not guilty. Bond was set at $2 million cash. His attorney L. Patrick Mulligan called the arrest a rush to judgment. Said his client looks forward to defending this case. Said, "When the government runs out of leads or can't develop leads and looks at a surviving spouse, the chance of a wrongful conviction increases. On Tipp City, Police Chief Greg Adkins pushed back directly, said the investigation did not move fast, said it progressed at a pace dictated by a thorough and deliberate investigative process, said the family and community deserve a thorough, professional and compassionate investigation into this very sensitive matter, said probable cause existed to charge Caleb Flynn with the murder of his wife. Ashley's family released their own statement. They said they believe law enforcement took proper steps in the arrest, that they spoke with both local police and federal authorities, that they trust the process was handled appropriately, and then they said the 5 words that said everything. Our hearts are shattered. Ashley brought endless light to our world, and they are trying to navigate this immense loss. Read that again. They trusted the arrest. Aunt Ashley's own family, the people who knew both of them. They looked at what investigators found and said, yes, this was right. Tipp City had already been grieving before the arrest. Prayer ribbons on the lamp posts, candlelight vigils, a school district mourning a teacher and coach who made their hallways brighter, a church losing a woman its pastor called a devoted servant, and then Friday, February 20th happened, and the grief became something more complicated, because now the community had to reckon with something harder than loss. They had to reckon with the possibility that the man who led their worship, who stood at the front of their church every Sunday and pointed them toward God, who smiled at them from the stage and told them about love, had allegedly come home and shot his wife in the head while their children slept down the hall. A close friend of the Flynn family told church leaders something that stayed with me. They said the Caleb they knew was a strong worship leader, that he set hearts on the right path from the stage, that he loved on children in the church and community right along with Ashley. And then they said something heartbreaking. No matter which way the legal process plays out, he did put his heart into leading and caring for people, did put his heart into it. Past tense, because something shifted in that sentence, something the whole community felt without being able to fully say it yet. Senior Pastor Jordan Hansen addressed the church on social media, called Ashley a shining light of joy, said her kindness and spirit touched countless lives, said she boldly lived out her faith with courage and conviction. The celebration of life that had been planned for Ashley at the church was cancelled, replaced by a private invite-only gathering, because grief is complicated when the person you were grieving alongside is now in a jail cell. Here is what no one has said publicly yet: the motive. Investigators have not revealed what they believe drove Caleb Flynn to allegedly shoot Ashley in their bed and then spend the hours before 2:31 a.m. staging a crime scene, moving a refrigerator, opening a garage door, opening a truck console, rehearsing 8 minutes of grief for a 911 dispatcher, performing shock and desperation for the officers who arrived, and then sitting in a police station at 4:30 in the morning, answering questions voluntarily, confident the scene he built would hold. What breaks a marriage like this? A pastor, a worship leader, a man who told America on national television that he loved his wife more than anything. What happened between that 2013 interview and February 16, 2026? What changed? What he found? What she found? What either of them knew that nobody outside those walls knew yet? We don't have that answer. Not yet. The preliminary hearing is scheduled for February 26, 2026. That hearing will determine whether this case moves forward to trial. And as it does, more will come out. It always does. The motive, the timeline, the details that fill in the space between the man everyone thought they knew and the man detectives say they found evidence against. What we do know is this. Court documents say Caleb Flynn intentionally led investigators astray, that the staging was deliberate, that the forced entry was constructed, and that 2 shell casings at the foot of a bed tell a very different story than a garage door left open in the dark. If you are still here, comment "Justice for Ashley." 2 little girls, elementary school age, asleep in their bedrooms on the night of February 15th. They did not hear the shots. They did not wake up. They went to sleep in a home with both their parents and woke up in a world that had completely changed. Their mother was gone. Their father was in handcuffs. Everything they knew about safety and home and the people who were supposed to love them dismantled in a single night. Ashley Flynn spent every day of her daughters' lives building something steady for them, teaching at their school, coaching their friends, volunteering at their church, constructing a life around the belief that love was reliable, that home was safe, that the people inside it could be trusted completely. Those girls are going to grow up with questions nobody can fully answer. They will find that 2013 American Idol clip someday. They will hear their father's voice say, "I love my wife more than anything." And they will have to sit with what that means alongside everything that came after. They will grow up reaching for their mother at volleyball games she will never attend, at graduations she will never see, at moments that daughters need their mothers for and will now have to navigate alone. Ashley Flynn was 37 years old. She had decades left, decades of games and graduations and grandchildren and Sunday mornings and everything a life is supposed to hold. And if prosecutors are right, every single one of those decades was taken from her in the dark by someone who knew exactly where she was sleeping. Here is what stays with me about Ashley Flynn. It is not the crime scene. It is not the 8-minute 911 call. It is not even the American Idol clip, as haunting as it is. What stays with me is something much simpler. Ashley Flynn went to sleep that night feeling safe. She had no reason not to. She was home. Her daughters were down the hall. Her husband was beside her. She had faith in the walls around her and the person next to her and the God she had served every day of her life. She fell asleep in the safest place she knew. And if prosecutors are right, that safety was the very thing that was used against her, because she never locked the bedroom door. Why would she? She never kept one eye open. Why would she? She never flinched when she heard movement beside her. Why would she? She trusted completely. And Ashley Flynn, according to everything investigators say, died because of that trust. The next court date is February 26, 2026. This case is far from over. The motive has not been revealed. The trial has not begun. Caleb Flynn maintains his innocence, but Ashley Flynn's family believes the arrest was right. And somewhere in Tipp City tonight, prayer ribbons are still on the lampposts on Main Street, put there by a community that thought they were grieving a tragedy, and are now grieving something far more complicated. If you believe women deserve to feel safe in their own homes, share this video. If you think Ashley's daughters deserve the full truth, comment "Justice for Ashley" below. Subscribe for updates as this case moves toward trial. And keep Ashley Flynn in your thoughts. A teacher, a coach, a mother, a woman of faith, who went to sleep one night and never got to wake up and live the rest of her beautiful life. Her name was Ashley Flynn, and she deserved so much better than this.